everyone, it's Taylor here, and today I'm going to share with you how I created these two very similar 4th of July cards with one subtle difference to step it up a bit. I have the sketched flag background, which starts it all off, and for my sentiments I'll be using the hand-lettered 4th of July stamp set with the coordinating die set. I'll be doing some embossing on the cards, so I have my Versamark powder tool and two different embossing powders, clear and gold. And for ink I'll be using blue corn and cherry pop. So let's get started by setting up the sketched flag background. I'll place it onto the lid of my MISTI and then put a small bit of adhesive onto the grid paper, then arrange the cardstock over the top of the stamp and close the back of the MISTI so that piece of adhesive that I put down will pick up the cardstock exactly where I want it to stay. I've inked the top of the stamp with the blue corn and the bottom with the cherry pop, and you can see how beautiful and simple that background stamp turns out on that sugar cube cardstock. I'm going to do the second panel here in the same ink colors and then wash that with my baby wipe and my cleaning cloth, and then with the stamp in exactly the same spot I'm going to stamp that again in Versamark. So it's covering the colored ink with the Versamark, and then this is where it steps it up. So we have a little bit of clear embossing powder that we're going to place over the top of that Versamark ink, and then we're going to heat that. So the embossing powder is going to create a shimmery version of the ink color that's behind it. I am going to heat the embossing powder from the back of my cardstock. It allows me to see as it begins to turn a little bit better, and you can see it creates a really pretty glossy effect in the same color as the ink that we used. So that's one way to step this up. The other panel I'm going to leave plain so you can see the difference between those two just a little bit. Now let's finish off both of the cards with a sentiment. I've set those up in the MISTI and I'm going to stamp those with the Versamark. But first, always remember to condition your cardstock. So then we'll stamp that with the Versamark onto the conditioned sugar cube cardstock, and then we'll use the gold embossing powder on top of this. Now by using that powder tool, it allows all those little bits and pieces of the embossing powder to just fall right off of the cardstock, and you don't get all of those little flyaway bits and pieces. So now that I've embossed those in gold, I've lined up the coordinating dies and I'm going to run those through my die cut machine, and poking out all of the little pieces that come with those die cuts, and creates a really cool hand-lettered effect while giving some dimension with these foam tape squares. I need to cut them in a little bit smaller pieces to place them in all of the open spaces on the back of these die cuts, and then just remove the backing paper and place them down in the center of each of the panels. You can see side by side how the one on the left looks glossy and shiny from that clear embossing powder, and the one on the right is more of a matte finish with just the ink directly to the cardstock. Now I'm going to add these two blue corn card bases, just a regular A2 card base for these two card panels, and then I've decided to add a sentiment to the inside. I'll be using a sentiment from our new Inside Scoop Freedom stamp set. Our Inside Scoop stamps include sentiments that are perfect for the inside of your cards, and we have these for all different occasions. This one in particular would be great for the 4th of July, or for thanking our veterans, or if you have a friend or neighbor who is deploying in the future, it would be great for sending your support and well wishes for that as well. I'm inking the top sentiment with cherry pop ink and the bottom with blue corn. It says, "Freedom is a precious gift. We honor your family's sacrifices in helping to preserve that freedom." I've stamped that on both of the card panels that I'll adhere on the inside of the two finished cards. And once I've done that with my Scotch tape runner, these two cards are going to be finished and ready to get off in the mail. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you'll try this technique for using that clear embossing powder to dress up your stamped images with any colored ink. You can find all of these products at the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com.